We have seen flickers in the intelligence of potential Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah. We've seen different things. But at this point, I don't have detail sufficient to say that there's a significant Al-Qaeda presence or any other terrorist presence in and among these folks.
Well, that was NATO's Supreme Allied Commander in Europe speaking about the operations in Libya. So what does that really mean about the flickers of Al-Qaeda, but no significant presence? Who are these Libyan rebels? Michael Scheuer is former head of the CIA's bin Laden unit. He's author of Osama bin Laden, one of his books. So, Michael, what's your interpretation of that, flickers of Al-Qaeda?
Well, the Admiral was trying to cover the best he can, I think, for the President and the Secretary of State and Ms. Rice. The only military capability in the resistance side in Libya are those young Libyans who have gone to fight in Islamic insurgencies around the world, whether in the Balkans or in Chechnya, in Iraq or Afghanistan, Somalia or Yemen. Those are the people who have the military skill. And to hear the President earlier on your program say, well, they're doctors and lawyers, so they can't be Islamists, it is just a ridiculous statement. Al-Qaeda and its allies are drawn overwhelmingly from the best and brightest, the best educated in the Muslim world. So, in effect, if this was Afghanistan, we would be providing air cover to the Taliban.
Are we following the same patterns that we did in the past, even before our occupation of Afghanistan? Are we following patterns and mistakes we've made before?
No, not really, because there's no need to make a mistake this time. To understand the Libyan resistance, you simply go on Google and search for a group called the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group. They've been fighting Gaddafi for 20 years. They're based in Benghazi and eastern Libya, and they have gone all over the world to gain training and fighting.
Now, let me ask you about that group, though, because I read it in some of the research. It suggests that the group definitely wants to fight against Gaddafi, but also decided that they were going to align themselves with Al-Qaeda back in 2007 or so. Did they actually sever with Al-Qaeda? Are they different?
They issued a statement after being tortured in Gaddafi's prisons for the past 15 years. Statements from prisons of Gaddafi or Mubarak probably are not reliable instruments to base U.S. security on. Whether they severed what I was going to say, Jenna, is whether they severed their relationship with Al-Qaeda or not is irrelevant, because they're all moving in the same direction, which is to take over countries and establish Islamic law, which may or may not be a concern to the United States. But for Mrs. Clinton and the President to say that these are middle-class lawyers or rather that we don't even know who they are, I think the American people should be appalled at that.
Well, it's easy to understand our desire to want to believe that we're helping the good guys, right? That's what we would like to believe. But that's why we're also asking these questions. As our ambassador to the UN yesterday, Michael, said to me, and as Hillary Clinton also said yesterday publicly, we're still getting to know the people that we're helping. How long?
There's no reason for that, Jenna.
How long will it take to get to know them and to know their intentions or whatever they may be?
Well, they're not going to have much time, because the debate that's going on today, the fact is, if the resistance is going to have a chance, they're going to have to kill a lot more Libyans on Gaddafi's side. They have to have firepower. They have to have training. They'll probably have to have boots on the ground assistance of some kind. And so getting to know them, it's a little late in the game for that.
What about arming them? What about that?
Well, arming them, sure, you can arm them and train them, but what if they're not just simple doctors and lawyers who want to be secular Democrats? Are you going to try to establish an Islamist state in Libya if those are the people who turn out on top? This is just amateur hour, Jenna, unfortunately, and at the end of the day, it only pushes America into another unconstitutional war and into another endless waste of our money.
Just a real quick final thought. You're the terror expert. What should we do? What should the path be?
We should just stay the heck out of other people's business. The President, there's nothing in the Constitution that says we have to go to anybody's aid for humanitarian reasons. Humanitarian reasons are the responsibility of churches, non-governmental organizations, the UN. If they want food and medicine, let them get them. But to waste the resources of the United States and to create a situation where more Islamist mujahideen can be nurtured is certainly not anything that involves a responsibility on the part of the United States.
You give us a lot to think about, Michael. We appreciate it. Michael Scheuer, thanks for joining us again. We look forward to talking to you.
Thank you, ma'am.